Have you ever felt like no matter what you accomplish, no matter how much success you have, no matter how many goals you check off the list, you just still feel like it's just not enough? Or were you questioning, am I even worthy of happiness or success? Today we're going to dive into self-esteem and building self-worth. If that sounds like something you want to do, let's just get into it. So, what is self-worth? Self-worth is the foundation. It is just believing that you have value simply because you're human, you're you. Not your achievements, not anything you've done, not anything someone has said to you, but you have value because you're you. Now, self esteem, on the other hand, is how you feel about yourself. It's believing in your abilities to get things done. That's your self esteem. Think of self worth as the foundation for a house. And your self esteem is all the little things that you put inside, all the little furniture that you have inside. Self worth is foundational. Your self worth is derived from your upbringing. So if you grew up in a negative, pessimistic environment, and in that environment, you were often criticized by others, and you were criticized about, your ability to do things or the way you did things or the things that you accomplished. All of that was the foundation for your self-worth. You could have been in a positive environment where you were praised for a lot of the things you did, or you were just praised because of who you are. Typically, when you grow up in a more positive reinforcing environment, you typically are an adult who feels very adequate just for who they are. If you grew up in a more negative environment, you are an adult woman who feels very inadequate no matter what you do. Sometimes you don't recognize that you have low self-worth until you become an adult, until you start accomplishing things, and you may feel like, wow, it just never feels like enough. Or you get into a relationship. Relationships really tell you the way you value yourself. So those are things that will kind of help you know, like, do I have low self-worth or do I have low self-esteem? Others can tell you if you have low self-esteem, if you're just not a person who's very self-aware and can find that out about yourself. The issue with having low self-worth and low self-esteem is this is where the depression, the anxiety, the feelings of constant inadequacy, that comes from having low self-worth and low self-esteem. So even when you don't know that you have low self-worth or low self-esteem, you often have the symptoms of those two. And I'm saying low self-worth or low self-esteem, they're not the same thing, but they often are grouped together because if you have low self-worth, you typically have low self-esteem. You can't have a foundation of feeling inadequate and feeling like you're not enough and then just think highly of yourself in a self-esteem way. So if you have low self-worth, your self-esteem is going to be low as well. But I say all of that to say that in this glow up period, we can fix the hair, the nails, the teeth, you fix the body. You can change the foods you eat. If you don't do the internal work, everything else is just going to be a trickle effect of going back to the person that you've always been. The lazy person, the person who doesn't accomplish their goals, the person who is always negative, not in a good mood, the person who doesn't like their appearance, that will always come back if you don't do the internal work, and that is working on your self-worth. Like I said in previous videos, these are some things that you can do on your own. And if you want to be more self-aware, pay attention to how you're reacting to things, pay attention to how you are thinking about yourself when you accomplish or do not accomplish things. Sometimes you can do this on your own, and sometimes you do need the work of therapy. Nothing wrong with either way. If you need the work of therapy, sis, please get therapy. Please. It is life-changing if you want to do the work. If you feel like, no, I don't want to do therapy, then hey, let's take some pointers from this video, read some books, get on the right path of truly glowing up from the inside. Some other impacts that low self-worth and low self-esteem have on your mental health is that constant feeling of you're not enough. Having low self-worth and low self-esteem, it's like putting on shades and everything is constantly dim. You're in the dark and everything is, your shades are making the darkness even more dark. So when you have those shades on, you don't feel worthy. You don't feel like anything is good enough. You have feelings of where you downplay every accomplishment, or, and more importantly, you stay in relationships and friendships that you know you should have let go a long time ago. But that feeling of inadequacy, and you don't want to lose this person, or you don't want to be without these friends because these friends give you some sort of status, or this relationship gives you some sort of status and accomplishment, that is devaluing yourself, staying in those situations. And typically when you don't work on it, this is a result of what you get. So what I want you to do is think about your relationships and friendships that you have right now. I'm not just talking about a romantic relationship. I'm talking about your friendships, your family, your coworkers. Think about those situations. Think about the jobs that you stay in or that you stay on because you just don't have the courage to walk away, or you'll feel inadequate if you walk away. I want you to think about those situations, think about those relationships, and I want you to write it down. Back to that journal again, girl. And I want you to write it down. And that's just the first step. Remember, I told y'all in the other video, the first step is always acknowledging, truly acknowledging. I know we hear that a lot on social media, or just hear people say you gotta admit it first, to truly get over it, or things like that. But truly the first step is acknowledging, I did stay in that relationship for too long, or I did devalue myself by not saying anything in certain situations. So now that we know what self-worth, low self-esteem, now we know what it stems from, what it is, sometimes that you may have had low self-worth or low self-esteem, or you may still be dealing with it. Here are some ways that you can kind of start to build on having better self-worth and self-esteem. And one of those things is going to be setting boundaries. I have a whole other video coming about setting boundaries, because setting boundaries will change your life. Setting boundaries will have people looking like, oh, who she thinks she is? And that's okay. That's okay. But you have to put yourself first. And I know sometimes when you're just a really kind person, or I find it a lot being a Christian, that it's hard to set boundaries because, we give grace and we're forgiving and we love people. But there are periods in your life where you have to just straight up set boundaries and put you and your mental health and your self-worth first. You have to stop letting people disrespect your time, your physical presence. You have to put an end to that. And you don't have to be mean about it. Sometimes simply saying no is enough. Not providing an explanation. You know the reason why. You know that it's time to put you first. But simply saying no is a perfect way to establish boundaries. You have to prioritize yourself, your time, your space, your environment in order to grow, sis. And it's okay that if you want to take the next 60 days, lock in and block everything out. I recommend that. I recommend that, locking in, blocking everything out, and you have to establish those boundaries with the people that are around you that are sucking and draining your energy, intentionally or unintentionally. But if they are sucking and draining your energy, it is time for you to set boundaries and say no. No is a complete sentence. No. Another thing that you can do is truly start to observe the way that you speak to yourself. Those little inner thoughts that you have when you're doing something and a negative thought comes up, challenge that negative thought. Is it true? Is this true? Or am I putting someone else's, or am I comparing someone else's to me? If you have thoughts like, oh my gosh, I'm always messing up, are you truly messing up? Or did you just make a mistake and move on? You have to challenge those negative thoughts and reframe them for positivity. Setting boundaries and positive self talk are things that you are going to have to practice. because you have beat yourself up for so long, it's not just going to roll off the tongue of just being positive and reframing negative thoughts and setting boundaries. It's not going to be easy. But when you start with the small things, again, like I said, you start with a little jog, you're walking, you're running. Next thing you know, you're off into a full sprint. You've ran a marathon. So the small boundaries and stopping the small negative thoughts is going to help you build on building better self-worth and self-esteem. Start small. It doesn't always have to be this catastrophic, oh my God, I'm tearing everything off the walls. Don't call me, I'm changing my number. Sometimes it's that serious. Sometimes it's that serious, but it doesn't always have to be. It could be small, subtle things, and you build on that. But let me tell you something. If it's that serious, make it that serious, because when we're talking about your self worth and the way that you value yourself, is that serious, sis. So, some ways that having better, stronger self worth when it comes to your accomplishments, it helps you pursue those goals with confidence. Oh, I know I can do this. Oh, I know I can get this done. Puts you in a different mindset and it makes you have higher standards. Or if I did it this way the last time, I know I can do it 3 times better this time. Or if this was the requirement, oh, I'm going to make it an even better product in the end. It just gives you that sense of just confidence and resilience. Even when some minor setbacks happen, you're able to bounce back and get right back on the train and keep it moving. Imagine applying for a job, and someone tells you, when you apply for that job, ask for a pay increase. Having low self-worth won't have you applying or asking for that pay increase. You'll just take it like, oh well, hey, this is more than what I make, so I'm just going to settle for that. Versus when you know your value, you know what you bring to the table. Oh yeah, I'm going to ask them. The only thing they can do is tell me yes or no. And guess what? You ask them and they say yes. If you were still in the phase of having low self-worth and not valuing yourself, you wouldn't even be making more money. Just I want you to know that you deserve better. You deserve the great things in life. You deserve great people in your life. You deserve to be treated with love and respect and dignity. It doesn't matter what people have told you as a child. It doesn't matter what people told you as an adult. Now we know what we want. I want you to know that you deserve it. Like, you deserve the best of everything. Take some time. Take some time. Think about how you think about yourself. Think about the times where you kind of want something, but you shy away from it because you feel like you're not good enough for the position, the person, the friendship, the clothes, the car. Like, you feel like you're not good enough for that stuff. Think about those times, and we're about to change that. This winter arc and this glow up season, we're not sitting around sulking and waiting. We are building a better woman. And building a better woman starts on the inside. I know that if you like this video, you're going to love my video about setting boundaries. We are saying no. Okay? So be on the lookout for the setting boundaries videos. Let me know in the comments the things that you feel like you want to change so that you can have stronger self-worth. Just know that you are worthy of great things. I love you.